Good god, this animation. It honestly might be the worst one I've seen in quite a while. As difficult as it is to put that aside, the story is overall just a nice bubble bath of bad. Flat characters, a lifeless world, a dumb, I can't even call it a plot honestly, a potential of something kinda unique utterly wasted, and with a title so long it could be used in javelin contests. Anyway, the I Hate People party is about 4 individuals who've been betrayed in different ways. Due to their mutual distrust of others, their acknowledgement of each other's grievances, and the need to earn a living, they form a party. Luckily for them, they formed a balanced one rather than being a team of healers or thieves, as entertaining as that would be. Anyway, Nick, great fancy name by the way, creates rules about how they'll hold one another accountable, both trusting and doubting each other. Essentially, the focus is on them moving past their respective hang-ups and learning to bond with each other. And thus begins the epic tale of how this anime cocked up this interesting premise. During the first dungeon, an idiotic misunderstanding causes Dragoness to distrust Meiji, after which Nick lectures them, and the conflict's resolved. Literally 5 minutes later, Dragoness trusts Meiji with her life. And from here on, there's zero tension between the team. Everyone fully trusts and supports each other, while their own grievances and fears never play a role ever again.
Lame, 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 lame!
After a full episode on Dragoness's backstory, we get a dive into another dungeon, where they gain the powerful ability to briefly merge with each other. After that, Meiji has a flashback about the shadiest teacher ever. Then we have a math duel with these guys. Predictably, the baddies cheat but are easily foiled, after which Lion Guy escapes prison and goes on a rampage in a casino. After he's stopped, there's a backstory about this idol girl who then does a solo concert with 2 other girls.
That doesn't make sense!
Finally, we have the search for Stepping Man, a mysterious villain killing children. They train for a bit and investigate the slums where this guy shows up, who's obviously the villain. Later, they trap him and he explains he killed kids because his daughter died.
Oh, you want to play it tough, huh? Well, 2 can play at that game.
He didn't even do the whole "I killed a few to save many" speech. Nope, my daughter died, so I randomly killed some kids. But even so, this confession was so moving for Zem that he feels absolutely sorry for him.
I told you I shoot kids!
But then a random baddie turns up, stabs him, and Zem has to choose whether to save his teammates that he really cares about, or the child murderer.
Oh, I can't decide!
Eventually he makes the correct choice, they fend off the bad guy, and ends with them leaving to stave off the Demon Lord. This is what I mean when I say this doesn't have a plot. It's more a series of events than a coherent story. They set up these characters with their own backstories, strengths and weaknesses, then have them do random disconnected stuff. The focus was supposed to be on their distrust of everyone else and their disconnect from humanity. I mean, it's called the I Hate People party for goodness sake, but it never plays a role in any of this. They happily trust the reporter lady, the barmaids, each other, and basically everyone else, the end villain included.
ステッピングマンの噂をご存じないか？知るわけないでしょそんなの。
Nick even visits Beast Guy in prison a couple times as though they're good friends. I guess his betrayal, dickishness and rampage didn't mean that much to him. Just ignore how much he felt at the start of this, yeah? Same thing for Zem. Even ignoring the insanity that made him sympathise with the child murderer, his betrayal should have made him terrified to be seen with kids. But even so, he gets talked into having an apprentice anyway. As for the other 2, one likes cuisine and the other gambling, and that's it for them. Yeah, characterization is pretty bad across the board. I haven't even mentioned the Sword of Unions, the hundreds of year old weapon that transforms into a curious boy. You would think having a character excited to freely explore would be the perfect way to show off the world, except it would need a functioning world to begin with. The idol concerts, the racetracks and the casino are completely at odds with the fantasy aesthetic, but even putting that aside, the world building still falls apart. There's no sense it feels lived in. There's not even the basic job board for guild members to handle pesky monsters. As far as I know, this guild is just a boring clubhouse that is either packed or barren. And that's it for world building. We see a tavern, sprawling slums, a morgue, and a prison, but have no idea how they're connected, or indeed where they are. The only view of the city we get is a 4-second shot at the start, and when they're on a rooftop. So the only thing we know of this place is that it's full of tall buildings. It gets worse when we're indoors, where every room is devoid of background people and furniture. I guess there was some sort of mass exodus from the city or something. Certainly not helping matters is how balked the perspective is half the time. Sorry to hark back to the shoddy animation, but when a guy gets taller as he walks off, or how the boy is now a midget, or how everyone suddenly shrunk, it's kinda hard to think about anything else. Suppose that's the I Hate People party in a nutshell. Animation so bad, it's hard to focus on its nothing story, dumb characters, and empty world. In all honesty though, I'm very glad I watched it, because just like The Room or The Birds, it's just fun to watch something so adorably pathetic try to be serious.